ecosystem, what advice would you give to the folks who are getting up every day running those organizations based on your unique perspective gained over decades in this industry?
My perspective is always, don't just think of your actions as a single actor in a healthcare delivery system, but you have to think of how your product, your investment, your actions within the healthcare delivery system impact the other actors. How are payers going to react? How are providers going to react? How are the patients going to react when you come with your solution? And so doing all that at the same time is difficult. And so I think with this new administration, there are new opportunities, but thinking about the big picture, about taking advantage of those new opportunities to drive value for not only your investors, but for society, I think it's a tremendous opportunity, as with any change.
Thanks, Dan. We'll come to you, Curtis.
I just go back to who pays for it and why. To look at things through that lens, it captures a lot. The payment side, the provider side, the consumer side, but who pays for it and why? It tells you the value of the product, value of the service, where it's valued from the payers. So I think that's just a lens by way to look at what we're talking about and continue to apply that type of an approach to understanding what the changes are taking place. Because as Dan says, there's so many of them, right? I mean, the beauty of healthcare is you can think about it as a microeconomic exercise every day on the ground to get to the macro. But it really is, at the end of the day, so many different microeconomic decisions, which all boil down to my mind is who's going to pay for it and why.
Sonia, you get the last word. What's your advice?
Yeah, I think it's all about the people, Matt. I think it's about making sure you've got the right people at all the tables, the executive leadership table, the boardroom table, and the cap table. And I think when you have that alignment of people in those places, and it's time for us to have some different people in those places, quite candidly, I think, and provide some perspective and different points of view, I think that's where you really have the ability to drive change. And so I'm optimistic that regardless of what happens, with the policy administration, that the healthcare ecosystem is resilient and that we have the opportunity to put the right people across all of those tables to drive a sustainable system for all of us for many generations to come.